In this presentation, I'm going to make a few suggestions and show some activities of how you could use a variety of products. Be sure to consult with an occupational, physical, or speech therapist in the manner that you're using these if you're unsure, to make sure that they're safe for both you, your caregivers, and your child, and using them appropriately. Also, be sure that there's not a point of overuse of the product. So we're going to start with the yellow extra soft putty. It's fairly easy to pull apart. It has the least resistance of the Theraputties. This would be a good place to start with clients. You can use it with two hands to kind of pinch, roll into a ball. Two hands, use it on the table if you have decreased use of one hand. One activity we're going to try is we're going to hide some pennies. If you have pennies or buttons at home, this is an easy thing to push and hide in putty. Kind of make it a game. You can pinch them closed, roll it back and forth, smash it into a ball, and then we're going to dig the pennies out. So again, you can use two hands to pull. That's the best way to get strength in both hands. Dig it out. You can put them into a piggy bank or just make a pile. There's another penny. Again, using two hands to just kind of really manipulate, using your pincher fingers to dig. Try to find these coins or buttons if you have them. There's another penny. Something else you can do with just your pincher fingers is you can practice making mountains, using all fingers. Going from your pointer finger to your pinky finger kind of becomes more difficult with each hand. You can put the putty over all fingers, kind of push it on there and practice spreading out for some of the muscles on the insides of your hand. We can also use some other tools such as this putty size peg turn. So we're going to push this down into the putty, kind of bury the base a little bit. And this is more of a refined grasp, such as like a radio knob, a lamp turner. Those are all things that you need more of this peg turn hand strength for. So I'm just turning the knob with some resistance from the putty down in there. Again, you can use two hands, so I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to hide it again, the face, so I don't see the T anymore. And just practice turning. It doesn't have to be big turns, it can be small turns at first if this is difficult. And I'm using kind of my three pincher grasp fingers here. So that's the putty size peg turn. And let's see, we're going to go next to the red Theraputty. This is soft, so it has a little more resistance than the yellow did, working on a little bit more strength. In this putty, I've hidden some small beads. So this is more of a refined fine motor. The pennies are a little bit larger in diameter, easier to find. These beads are a little bit smaller, so they require a little bit more digging and more of a two-finger pinch to get out. These have letters on them if that's a skill that you're working on. You could also hide just colored pony beads that you make necklaces with. So just really digging, finding all these different beads. And then to hide them requires strength too, so we're going to push them down and really pinch them back in there to hide them for the next time. So pushing and pinching. And then we're going to try a different tool. This is the L bar from Putty Size. So we can practice a raking motion, so stabilizing with one hand and kind of pulling towards. This requires more of a whole arm movement. So kind of raking and pulling towards you, using really some shoulder strength and some forearm strength to really maintain a good grasp of the bar. We can also use this as more of a lever turn, so pushing down and going up and down with it. You can give it some more resistance by kind of building the putty up around it. So kind of using that lever turn to kind of dig a hole in the putty. So again, raking for more whole arm shoulder strength, and then kind of more of a lever to go up and down for turning and twisting. The next one is the Putty Size Cap Turner. So this simulates a medium cap, maybe for a soda bottle or something like that. So we're gonna again hide the T portion of the lever. We're going to use these 3 grasp fingers that you use to turn if you're opening a soda bottle or a ketchup bottle. So really just kind of working on that rotation of the hand and forearm to twist and turn. And that is the Putty Size Cap Turn. Okay, next we're going to go to green. Green is the medium strength. So again, we went from extra soft with the yellow to soft with the red, and now we have green, which is the medium. So a little more resistance than the red. Requires a little bit more shoulder strength and forearm strength to pull. Twisting is a good 2-hand activity. If pulling is difficult, you can practice twisting back and forth. We can pull off a small piece and work on some smaller hand movements. So if we're working on some thumb strength, we can put it in your web space here between your index finger and your thumb and practice pushing in together like that. You can put it in your palm and practice really pushing in to work on that thumb abduction. So going all the way over to your pinky side and all the way out, requiring some in-hand muscle strength here. We can use a small ball. So we did strength of the thumb. You can also do that between the fingers, kind of like a scissors, just really pushing the putty in together between each finger. And then if you make more of a snake, you can do the opposite by spreading your fingers out. So I'm going to put kind of a circle ring on my 2 fingers and go outward with the putty. So a ball to push in together and more of a snake circle to push them out. And a putty size tool that we're going to use with the medium putty is the key turn. So again, we're going to hide this T part of the tool. So I'm going to kind of push it in there, hide it. So for a key turn, you're going to use these 3 pincer fingers. We're going to stabilize the putty, and we're going to turn both to the left and to the right. So again, the putty is providing resistance as I'm using these fingers that I would need for a key to simulate a key turn back and forth in the putty. And if this resistance is too difficult, you can, all these tools work with the various resistances too. So soft would be the same way. Pushing in and hiding and turning. You can see that's a little easier than the medium. Still simulating the same key turn. All right, and the last we have is blue, which is hard. It requires quite a bit of strength to pull and manipulate. Some more exercises that you can do for finger and hand strength by kind of making it flat. So before we pinch to make mountains, and now we're going to use the thumb and each finger to push out. So we're going to push it out. And again, you can do all of these with the various strengths, just kind of depending on what you're working on. You may be working on one finger or a whole hand. You can do a whole hand to kind of work on spreading it out. And we're going to use the putty size knob turner. So we had the cap turn before that was a smaller diameter circle. This is a knob for simulating a doorknob or something larger, a peanut butter jar, anything like that that would require more of a cylindrical grasp. So we're going to use all of your fingers for this rotation. So I'm going to hide this portion, kind of stabilize it, and again using all my fingers for this turn to really push it down in there and rotate it. So opening or closing anything large, a doorknob, peanut butter jar, a jar of pickles, anything that would require a gross hand strength. And that is the putty size knob turner.